Hello, and welcome to A Normal Meets a Nerd, a podcast with me, Dylan Evans, a very normal person who loves asking abnormal questions that you want to know the answer to.
And me, Darragh, whose friends call him the chief geek, who answers those questions. True story, they do. Yeah. Well, friends is a bit strong, but otherwise it's true.
He's claiming he's got friends now. So I'm really excited for this episode.
Yeah, this is what we wanted, wasn't it? This is what we wanted.
We've been kind of overwhelmed with the response in the comments. Mm-hmm. So this is pretty much a listener special. Almost pretty much every single question that's going to get asked is from you.
Well, we cannot think up of questions as bonkers as theirs.
No, so let's get started.
Yeah, let's do it.
Come on. We are starting off with a great listener question here. This is exactly the kind of stuff, when we're asking out, this is the kind of stuff I wanted. This is from the YouTube. We're checking all the comments, so get them in. This is David Tutty, okay? Why has fizzy milk not been invented yet? Fizzy milk.
All right, for context, Dave, my mate, is actually my mate.
Is he?
We went to school together. We are very, very good friends. And him and our other mate, Wally, decided they were going to make millions. They just needed an invention. And they came up with the idea of fizzy milk as a drink.
It's one of the worst things I've ever heard. I can't,
Dave's going to make millions off this. And he can't understand why it hasn't been invented.
I've had some fizzy milk. If you leave milk out for long enough, it tinkers on fizz.
He's talking about intentionally fizzy milk.
Like carbonated milk?
Carbonated milk. And I hate to say it, really sorry, Dave. He's missed the boat on this.
What do you mean?
It exists. It's called soda milk.
No.
And the really bad thing about it is he's missed the boat by about 4,000 years.
What? Well, so it has been a thing?
There's evidence of this, like, in 2000 BC.
No way.
But it's definitely been around for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years.
Fizzy milk?
Yeah, it's called soda milk, and in parts of Scandinavia, Eastern Europe, Central Asia, it's big in Turkey. Bottled carbonated milk, it's got a longer shelf life than normal milk, which is probably why
that's why it would have been a thing.
So the acidic nature of it would mean it wouldn't go off as quick, kind of like yogurt. It takes longer. And in countries before refrigeration that are warm, and they were very heavy into dairy products, fizzy milk is a thing.
I think I'm disgusted. I kind of want to try some.
Yeah.
I'd try it. I need to know what it... It can't be good. It can't be good. That's got to be terrible.
I think we could do a good food and drink episode where we do mad food
and try it
while we're here.
Wow, write that down.
Oh, yeah.
Someone write that down. Fizzy milk. Fizzy milk.
Fizzy milk and, some dodgy thing. But yeah, fizzy milk, not only has someone invented it, they probably did it hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of years ago. Sorry, Dave.
This is a terrible thought, but I've just thought, what about fizzy gravy?
Might be onto something there.
What about fizzy gravy?
You could sell that anywhere in the north.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Like fizzy bisto.
Fisto?
Fovril? No, that doesn't work as well.
Patent pending. Fisto.
Fizzy gravy. That's what we should sell. Merchant fizzy gravy.
Yeah.
Class. Another good listener question here. Get your comments in. This is from Jordan Claydon on the YouTube. This is nice. Is fasting good for you? I keep hearing loads of people starting to fast and that now. Is that good?
Right. I'm going to be a proper hedger here and say it depends.
That's not an answer.
It is. Whenever we're dealing with medical questions, we have to be careful. I have to be careful. You don't. You can say.
I can say whatever. Do it. Loads.
So for a very large proportion of people, it really can be good for you.
Okay.
So I do it.
By the way, for someone that doesn't know fully what fasting is.
Okay, yeah. So this is the idea that you have, especially intermittent fasting is
that's the popular one, isn't it?
Fasting is where you deliberately don't eat for periods of time.
Yeah.
And the word breakfast is to break your fast because you haven't eaten overnight.
Boom.
So, and in the old days, it used to be religious where you'd fast for certain days and you wouldn't eat certain foods. So in this sense, in intermittent fasting, which I assume is what Jordan's talking about, is that every day or every week you have big periods where you don't eat. So when I do it, because I'm a piggy, I love eating cake, I love eating food, I love biscuits. I can't do the diets where you weigh out certain amount of grams of things.
Oh, forget all
where
that.
You only eat, rice cakes and stuff. Not for me. So the only way I can control myself is actually to eat what I want for a short period and then just don't eat at all for the rest of the day.
Do you not think back in the day this is what humans would have been like more? We're not like snackers. Will we not be like hunt, get a big meal, eat?
Yeah, but they would have done it in a different way because there would have been huge gluts of food at certain times of year or when a hunt happened and they'd eat crazy amounts of food for a very long period and then have very long periods where there wasn't any food.
Okay.
So kind of the same, but this is much more deliberate. So what I do is I tend not to eat in the morning, I tend not to eat in the evening. I eat during the middle of the day only.
Wow, that's weird.
Because
So you're a lunch fiend, are
so
you?
I have a big lunch, big dinner, nothing else.
Okay.
And that works for me, but it depends on the person, you know.
Yeah,
people
yeah,
work,
yeah.
and you just have water or black coffee or something outside of it.
Okay.
There's a lot of reasons why this helps. One, and the main one is a lot of people like to overplay, you know, the chemical effects and stuff. Is I eat less food because I have less time to eat food. You know,
Too busy.
So I would go, okay, I would eat a reasonably large amount for lunch and for dinner, and then pretty much nothing else during the day. If I wasn't doing that, I would still eat a reasonably large amount for those 2 meals, and I'd have breakfast, and I'd be sitting in front of the TV. So the number of bites of food that I eat is less, and that's probably the main reason why it helps me maintain my weight. But it has certain like chemical and physiological effects, fasting.
Right.
So it can change how your metabolism works because of, you know, different hormones are released and different things. It can change. There's a good bit of evidence it can increase your memory. So one of the hormones that is released is linked to growing new synapses. So it can actually very slightly make you better at memory. And they've done studies in mice and rats and stuff.
Oh, why are they starving the mice? Come on.
Well, they're just giving them periods where they can eat it when they can't. And they've had better spatial memory and other things like that, you know. So there's a bit of evidence for that. There's a little bit of evidence that's good for your heart, that it can lower your blood pressure, a few other things like that. So not super strong, but, you know, decent evidence for it. And it's really good if you have problems controlling your blood sugar. So if you're, you know...
Well, you'd let it settle, I suppose.
You can let your body sort of get back in control of it rather than constantly feeding yourself. So there's all of those are true. You know, they've got a reasonable amount of evidence. It's not rock solid, but there's a lot of small factors that point to it being a good idea in general.
They got a bad?
There's a problem is that for some people, it can be really bad for you.
Okay.
So if you already have a disorder, particularly if you're diabetic, you have to be very, very careful about fasting.
Right.
Like really, really careful, because it can cause huge problems because your blood sugar isn't able to regulate properly. And you have to actually eat in a very particular way. If you're pregnant or if you're nursing a child, it can have problems.
Yeah.
And there's a load of other sort of conditions and genetic disorders where it can be really problematic. So while it's a good idea for most people, for some people it's so bad, they should really go to their doctor before they do it.
Right.
So in general,
Get advice.
broad answer is, yes, it's good for you, but do get some advice. And if you're diabetic especially, be very, very careful and talk to your doctor first.
Okay.
And don't listen to us.
Yeah. Well, not me anyway. Don't listen
Not
to
me
me.
either, God.
Don't listen to me.
But Jordan, great answer. I know that got a bit serious. Normally we're a bit jokey.
Yeah, but
it was
that's nice.
It was a good question with some
Informative
good
answer.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
we are learning.
Yes, we are. We've got another listener question here. They keep flooding in. This is from Emma Keeney on the YouTube. Do animals get drunk on alcohol? Good question.
We do like Emma. She submits multiple questions, which we like. Multiple questions.
If it's good enough,
I've
it's
seen
getting
a few
it.
from her on the list. So yeah, if it's good enough, we'll talk about it. Do animals get drunk on alcohol? Short answer is yes.
I was going to say, surely they do.
Yeah, because our brains kind of work the same across.
We're similar.
Yeah, you know, I used to work on fruit flies, and they very famously get drunk.
Fruit flies get drunk. So when we say drunk, though, like, would the fruit fly just like fly a bit bad?
I think like this coordinated and a few other things, because you have to remember they live on rotting fruit
Yeah,
with
yeah.
yeast growing on it.
Yeah.
So like alcohol's the natural.
Oh, they
part
get
of
them
their environment.
bladdered, yeah.
They're very attracted to yeasty smells, so they'll attract to wine and beer. But there's two great facts about fruit flies and alcohol, and you will love these because they're mind blowing. One is that males that are rejected by females are way more likely to be attracted to alcohol.
Oh my God, they drown the
Drown their
sorrows.
sorrows. If they can't get it down, they'll drown their sorrows, and that is.
We've all been there.
It happens.
We've all been there.
That's like there's a scientific paper about that. That is true.
I'm more like a fruit fly than I thought.
The other thing is fruit fly genes have mad names. They're always funny and stupid, well, almost always. And two of them, one is called Lush, and another is called Cheap Date. And they're basically opposites. So Lush mutants are really good at metabolizing alcohol, so it takes a long time for them to get drunk, so they're a bit of a lush. Right. And Cheap Date gets drunk really easy.
I like that. By the way, you're doing these tests on fruit flies, and there's a fly in here.
Yeah.
How did you measure that they were drunk? Like them walking alive?
Their behaviour is different, you know, all that kind of stuff.
What about like if a dog got drunk? I'm thinking like dogs and pigs. Can't pigs get addicted to alcohol?
Yeah. My dog, when I was a kid, got drunk. She drank a spilled puddle of cider and was a bit, wasn't
what,
great.
Bit gobby?
Yeah, just a bit like...
Got a bit too political.
Next morning wasn't great for her either. But like quite a lot of animals, especially ones that eat fruit or drink nectar, are likely to get drunk because there's lots of sugars and they do ferment. They ferment naturally sometimes. So, you know, there's certain trees in Africa that animals come from miles around when the fruit drops because it ferments, and they literally come from miles around to eat the fruit. To get
drunk?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, because it has this effect on us at a deep cellular level. Like, that's how we get drunk, you know. It affects our neurotransmitters, which can, you know, boost our mood, can stop us from forming memories properly.
Yeah.
You know,
makes us more social.
Coordination. Yeah. Lowers inhibitions, all that kind of stuff. And I'd assume, honestly, it's the same.
Yeah, it's natural, isn't it?
The other thing that it does, and this is one we'll all know if you like a drink, is it inhibits the production of a hormone that stops us wanting to go to the toilet. So it stops us weeing. So
is that why when you break the seal?
So when you're drinking, you produce more urine because the hormone that stops you from doing that is inhibited by alcohol.
I thought it was just because you drank more. That's
part of it. But you also wee out more than you take in, which is why you're dehydrated in the morning.
Oh my God, I never knew that.
Yeah, because it's all
alcohol.
It's alcohol, the cause and solution of all life's problems. As Homer Simpson would say. Yeah. Good answer. Good answer. Great answer.
Great
question.
Yeah, good question. Love it.
Yeah.
A brilliant question from another listener here. This is one that's been dividing the internet for a few years, actually. This is from David Murphy on the YouTube. Shout out to David. Are there more doors or wheels in the world? Now, I think I know.
I've had literally hours of conversation with people.
Are we going to disagree or agree? Is this going to be a rare agree?
When this comes up in the pub, everybody has an opinion. Yeah. And there's lots of reasons, and a lot of them are valid. And there's no definitive answer.
Of course.
Because, you know, it's very hard to measure. But I would definitely go wheels.
Oh, I swear to God, I say doors. I'm not even joking, I'm saying doors. It's got to be doors. It's got to be doors. If you say cars, because I hate whenever I have this argument, people go, look at how many cars there are and bicycles. I'm like, have you seen how many buildings there are?
Well, cars is a terrible argument because most cars have 5 doors and 4 wheels.
That's a really...
So cars is a terrible argument.
A glove box could be a door. A cupboard is a door.
Like, I'm only talking about the big doors.
So where are your wheels coming from?
Cogs in machines. That's where I'm going with. There are plenty of things that don't have doors.
We're past cogs now.
No, we're not.
We kind of are.
No, we're not.
There's not many cogs in but big new laptop, that's not...
Well, there's certainly a couple of wheels in it that turn around. There's a fan that has a wheel. There's 2 fans, actually, and there's no doors, so that's got more wheels than doors.
But one like skyscraper, there's how many doors, how many cupboards, how many... I think it's got to be doors.
Yeah, there's no definitive answer for this. There really isn't.
Cogs has messed me up. I've never thought of it like that.
If you count cogs as wheels, like everything that's clockwork, everything that's engine-based, everything that's a mechanism will have lots of wheels, and it won't have any doors.
How certain are you?
Not at all.
Put a number on it. From like, say, 50,
I would say it's marginal. I'd say it's probably like 55, 45. I wouldn't say it's very high. Yeah, but with fewer disastrous consequences. No, I don't think there'd be very much in it, but it's an unmeasurable question.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments there, by the way. I want to see the split.
This is good, but we want to know your reasons. We don't want to just doors, wheels.
Yeah, why?
So doors, wheels, and give us... Maybe we put a poll up. Poll would be good. Yeah. But comments. We want to know where are you getting your answer from. Good one, isn't it?
That's good. Nice one for that question, mate.
Thanks.
Nice one for that. Okay, a bit of a mad question from one of our listeners here. This is from Unicorn X Poppy. Lovely. On YouTube. Getting deep here, mate. Are we real, or do we live in a simulation? Are we real, Darragh?
So are we real or do we live in a simulation?
Which one is it?
Yes, it's one of those.
And that's that.
So this is an impossible question to answer. It's a good philosophical question, but it's a nice door into the idea of perception in general and how we perceive the world. So we are essentially a brain walking around with like a meat-driven skeleton.
That's a nice thought.
So
lovely.
And it's only the inputs that go into that brain that we perceive.
Yeah.
And there is no way for that brain to know that those inputs are correct.
True.
And that's it. There is no way. So whether those inputs are coming from a real world or a simulation...
You're not giving an answer, are you?
There is no answer. It's a brilliant question. Yeah. It's a brilliant question. So like we could all be living in that Matrix style thing where we're plugged into something.
Know. We wouldn't
know, and you couldn't know.
What about, what is it? I think, therefore I am.
Descartes. Yeah, but that's it. That's essentially what it is.
Yeah.
It's only our thoughts.
At least there's something going on though.
We are essentially, we might all be social animals, but we are alone with our thoughts. And whether those thoughts are programmed from a world around us or from a dream of someone else or some sort of simulation.
I'm not going to lie, Darragh, this is a pretty terrifying answer. I thought you'd be like, of course we're real. It can't be a simulation.
I think we're real, but I don't have any proof for that. And
How did he say this? You deny ghosts, you deny everything.
Because there's no proof for them. But I can't deny this. I don't think so. I don't think there's any evidence that we're in a simulation. But a good enough simulation would not leave any evidence. So it depends on who...
Mic drop.
Leave it. Yeah. Thank you, Derek. That's not Derek. Who's that? Thank you, Unicorn X Poppy. I'm assuming that's her given name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Fun one to go to school with, but yeah, thank you for that.
Another listener question here. Mate, keep these coming. This is Boss. We're overwhelmed with the amount coming in. This is from Derek Ford on YouTube. Why can't we have a dynamo charger on a car, like a bike light, and get cars to power themselves? So, is a dynamo charger like kinetic energy?
Yeah, you might not remember this because they kind of went out of fashion because they were rubbish. But essentially, you had a little electrical charger with a wheel on the end of it, and you pushed it against your wheel like a brake.
Right.
And when you cycled, it would turn the little wheel, which would generate an electric charge, which would turn on your light.
Your light, okay.
And they were a bit rubbish. They kind of worked, but the amount of energy needed, especially for lights at that time, because they were filming bulbs, was like restrictive. You really had to push to go through it, and they weren't great. They were a brilliant idea, but they were ahead of their time. But the idea, the concept is still there, and we kind of do have them in cars, kind of. So, like I've said a million times, you can't create energy, you can only change its form. Energy has to come from somewhere.
Okay.
And in one of our earlier episodes, we talked about why you can't just put a magnet out the front, because you can't drag a car along.
Yeah.
So it has to be an external energy source. Yeah. And that's the problem. It has to be external. So some cars, especially hybrids and electric cars, have this already, where their battery recharges a little bit when you press the brakes.
Okay.
So what they have on the brake discs, they've got a little dynamo, and they basically take some of that kinetic energy and convert it back into electrical energy. It's a little bit.
Yeah.
But every system, no matter how good it is, has losses. There's no perfect system. And the proportion of energy that goes back into the battery is way less than it takes to get the car moving in the first place.
Okay.
So it's a very, very small amount. Now, it adds up and it helps, but, you're talking a percentage, a few percent at best. So you can't have a car that charges itself because that would be perpetual motion, which breaks the laws of physics.
We don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And we don't want to do that.
No, we don't. So you have to be able to push the car, and pushing the car to start is more than you can ever get in return.
Oh yeah, so it's not easy.
You have to keep pushing it. Like it's like pushing the car downhill. It goes woo, but then you have to push it up the hill.
Yeah,
you can't just go downhill always. So how do you?
We can.
Well, I'm personally going downhill always. But yeah, you can't go downhill in a car always. So yeah, the roller coaster needs to be pulled up at the start to go. So there has to. Unfortunately, not.
Sorry, Jerry.
If you thought you had absolutely cracked perpetual motion, I'm afraid not.
Oh, don't say that. Bit of a weird question here. Right. Is a minute on another planet the same as a minute on Earth? Or is time different? What's going on?
So, time is a tiny bit different on other planets because time is dependent on gravity.
I don't get that.
So time and space are linked together, and anything that's really massive bends space.
I know what that. Yeah.
So it bends. Gravity doesn't just bend space; it bends time, because the two of them are linked. Okay. This is Einstein relativity, all that stuff. So on a massive planet versus Earth, time will be very slightly different. So Jupiter, a minute will be very, very slightly different.
How much are we talking?
Like, you'd have to live there all your life and you'd change it by a couple of minutes. You know,
okay.
it's a very, very small percentage. It's measurable, but it wouldn't be noticeable. Okay, so, you know, and as well, there's lots of other reasons why you can't live on Jupiter. It's made of gas, the gravity's massive, no atmosphere, all that stuff. But if you did manage it. So, yes, on some of the bigger planets, it is different. And on the smaller planets, it's different in the other direction. And that's fine. So Mars, a minute, is very, very slightly different to Earth, because they're almost the same gravity. Not quite. That kind of thing. A minute on the moon is different to a minute on Earth. But it's really, really small in those cases, because gravity difference isn't that different. But it's way more interesting to talk about other units of time, because days and years are wildly different on the planet.
Well, yeah, that's rotation, isn't around the sun, isn't it?
So I'm just going to run through, but days, because they spin at different rates. So going through the planets. So Jupiter's day is about 10 hours, Earth hours long.
A day?
Yeah, it spins every 10 hours. And considering how big it is, it's spinning really fast.
That must be rapid.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons why there's so many storms and stuff on Jupiter. Right. Saturn, similar, 10.5 hours, massive planet, spins really quick. Neptune, 16. Uranus, 17. Mars is 24 and a bit, so it's a little bit longer than Earth.
Longer than us?
Yeah, it's about half an hour longer.
I don't want to move there then.
Yeah, per day.
I'm not moving there.
Mercury is 59 days, Earth days, to revolve. It takes 59 days.
2 months is a day.
Yeah, it takes 59 days for it to revolve. And because it goes around the sun so close and so quick, it's turning, but it's always facing towards the sun, because the year is so short. So at times it's very, very hard for night and day, for the dark side to swap around. So it's 59 days for a full revolution.
Really so time is different.
But the best one is Venus. Venus is awesome. It's 243 days for Venus to do a revolution.
Wait, one day is
243 days for it to go round.
What are we even saying here?
But its year is almost 3 weeks less than that. So its days are longer than its years.
This is a man. Honestly, he's making this up. He's making half of this up.
The time it takes to revolve on its axis is longer than it takes to go around the sun.
We don't know planets.
Yeah. So
this is nonsense, Dad. I'm not gonna lie. This is nonsense.
So on Venus, a day is longer than a year. There you go.
There we go. We are learning here today.
Always.
That's brilliant. Wait, I just want to say a big thank you to absolutely anybody that left a comment, whether it's on the Instagram, the TikTok, the YouTube. We are reading them, we are jotting them down, and we are getting them into these episodes. So from the bottom of my heart, anyway, thank you. It helps.
Yeah, and we want more questions. If you can post up every silly question you and your mates talk about at night time in the pub and you can't get an answer to, ones like the wheels and doors that don't have an answer.
Yes.
Get those in as well. We need those comments, we need questions, and we need suggestions for things to talk about.
Absolutely. So that's all for listening. That was fun.
That was fun.
I like that.
We are learning. #we are learning.
#we are learning.